Welcome to the Courtroom Chronicles, Trials of South Africa. My name is Busisiwe Mohapi, your host. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. This is where we serve legal tea and we don't sugarcoat it with anything. It's raw stuff and you're welcome. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday, Mdase. You know how we do it. If you've just been graduated, we also congratulate you. Congratulations, enjoy, and may God add to those blessings. May you get the job that you're looking for. And with that being said, and not wasting any more time, let's get into it. So now imagine, bestie, you are going for a run and you are preparing yourself. Your sneakers are on point, you've got your sunglasses, you've got everything that you need for that day, but you don't make it back. This is what happened to Kristen Kloos, a 34-year-old teacher who was an English teacher at Delta Park High School in Johannesburg. She was also 14 weeks pregnant, and she was thriving, glowing, and looking forward to this blessing of hers in a few months. And this is her story, and I want us to talk about it today. So who is the suspect? It is student, and there's no DNA linking the student to the crime scene, and also that it doesn't even match. There's no match. So let us get into it. So imagine you go to this run. It's a Sunday, like I said, and you are vibing with it. This is what Kristen Kloos, the 34-year-old teacher, was looking forward to. This. It was on the 29th of October in 2023. Sorry, 29 October 2023. She joined the My Run event at George Lear Park in Parkmore in Sandton. But within just 8 minutes into of arriving, 8 minutes of arriving, she was attacked and unalived. Yes, you need to take a deep breath for this one, because the next part will have you side-eyeing everything like I did. So let us get into it. Who is Bafana Mawungela? Bafana Mawungela was a 21-year-old at the time. I'm thinking he's 23 now. Varsity college student. And in November 26, same year, 2023, he was arrested at his student residence. And it is because he was seen on CCTV footage not only walking past the crime scene, but also wearing the teacher's t-shirt and a pink cap. Yeah, wait, you're going to hear more. And yes, he was wearing her clothes, which instantly raised red flags. But then comes a plot twist. This is the plot twist, the DNA drama that I want us to talk about today. So the forensic found that under Kristen's nails, guess what? Bafana's DNA was not matching. And it matched an unknown woman. We don't know her name. We don't know who she is. She's still unidentified. We don't know if we will hear about this in court, but this is what was found. And what is DNA? Is your body's barcode. You know, in the store, every item has a barcode. So it is your body's barcode. We are talking about the red ink. We are talking about sweat, any fluid that comes from you. We are talking about fingerprints. That is DNA evidence, the forensic evidence. We are talking about, all of that. Ubafana Mawungela was excluded from that DNA. Instead, this woman's DNA was found. So this is what we are talking about. DNA doesn't lie. It doesn't cheat. It doesn't ghost you. It's just like that. What we're looking for is exactly what we will find. So what is he charged with? These are the charges. He's charged with murder. He is charged with attempted rape and aggravating circumstances. So the key DNA evidence doesn't match him, but yes, he's being charged with all of these things. So here's a question that I'm asking, and that you are also maybe asking yourself, because I know some of you are not hearing about this for the first time and some are. Why was Ubafana wearing the victim's clothes? Who does that? Who comes to a crime scene instead of calling the police, screaming, or running away? Where now you just take the t-shirt, you take the cap and wear it. Who does that? So we are asking that. Why did he wear the clothes? Secondly, you stumble upon the scene maybe after the attack. Let's just give you a benefit of a doubt and say that is what happened. Is Ubafana protecting someone, or he's being set up? We don't know. So this is what we are asking, and I want us to talk about it in the comment section. There's another issue also I want us to speak about, the social media buzz. Hey, we've got detectives here, we've got investigators. You go on Facebook, we have here on YouTube, your TikTok, there are investigators, there are people who have opinions. You are allowed, it's freedom of speech. And sometimes we are called as people who are interfering into police business, but we can't help but talk. We have our own theories that we would like to say our 2 cents about it. Are we being totally responsible about it? That's the question that we should ask ourselves as communities, as individuals. But we know that in court, that's the only place you are proven guilty or innocent. And this case, I must say, is a bit confusing. So this is what people are thinking. It was on fire. Some people said Ubafana is protecting the killer, and some others said he is the real killer. And some said it's bigger than Ubafana. There's a cover-up here. And others say, where is the mystery woman? Who is she? Why don't we know her name, but we know Ubafana's name? So while we love good theories, we must remember speculation is not equals evidence. So your speculations will not be used as evidence in court. You can speculate all you want. You can have your 2 cents about it, but you need to be responsible about it. And this is where we are at right now. The court will have to do the work. The state will present the case. The defense will come with its own things. And we have seen already that the defense has said something, and this will be used going forward with the court case. So let us unpack some legal terms. You know, this is what I'm known for in this channel. And the first one is tampering with a crime scene. I want us to park here a little bit. This is messing up with evidence at the scene. You can't come here and find me Ubusisiwe on the floor. There's red ink. Things have been moved. And then you come again with your fingerprints and you start moving things around. There's a very notorious trial that I'll speak about. This trial is where we know that this trial has been going on for almost about 11 years. And we heard in that trial that while there was red ink on the floor, it was a crime scene. A neighbor came with a mop and some soap and started cleaning the red ink. Who does that? And we're seeing it. We're seeing the legal illiteracy that I was talking about yesterday in my video, that there's a lot of legal illiteracy in our communities. You do not come and find someone was unalived and you start cleaning the blood. You start moving sofas and saying, hey, I have to clean before the neighbors or everyone comes into the scene. Or when the police come here, they must find this place clean. You don't do what Ubongani Maungela did, starting to remove people's clothes because you came in contact with someone who was unalived in a place. It is a crime scene. It is supposed to be left like that so that the police can come and do their work. So we have seen that he's guilty of tampering with a crime scene because, he did things there that he was not supposed to do. As a young person, look where you're going. Be careful with what you do. Using drugs. Some people say there's mental issues going on here because a normal person would not do what Ubongani Maungela has done. The second one I want us to talk about is circumstantial evidence. The evidence that implies something but doesn't prove it directly. I'll make an example. You see me, I'm carrying an umbrella and my clothes are wet, but you didn't see rain. you didn't see any rain today, but you can see I'm wet and I have an umbrella. That is circumstantial evidence. So in this case, we see this guy, he's wearing the t-shirt and the cap, he's leaving the crime scene. That is circumstantial evidence. This can be used against him because this is what he did. We don't know why he did it, but he did this. And we're hearing from him that he said he didn't, but we don't have proof. So I want us to also talk about the third and last one, bail. It's a temporary release before trial. Usually it comes with conditions. You don't just get out because you say, I didn't do it. That's not how it works. There are conditions, and he's never gotten bail. He has applied for it because remember, he's been arrested since November 2023. It's May 2025. But now new evidence has come into surface where they say there's no DNA linking him to that. And secondly, another thing that we have found out is that the DNA was available December 2023, but it has been withheld. The NPA has been withholding this evidence, which is not fair. How do you withhold evidence that can help the case? So the defense is saying things like that, is using that as a foundation, and they're trying to fight this, that there was evidence. This happened in October 29th. Ubafana Mawungela was arrested in November. And then already in December, there was DNA evidence that is not linking him here. So that has been kept into hush-hush, and we didn't know about it up until now. So Ubafana is still in custody. His legal team is fighting back and using the DNA mismatch as the foundation for his defense. The case is headed for the Johannesburg High Court, and we are still going to hear about it. So as I wrap up, Mandase, I want us to talk about this. I have to ask this question. What would you do if you found a crime scene? Please don't clean. Please don't take your mop and clean the place. Please don't wear people's clothes because you don't want to be implicated. It implicated him. We saw him, Ubafana. We saw him there. So you don't want to mess up with the crime scene. As a South African citizen who's trying to learn, and we're trying to get rid of the illegal literacy, this is what we see. Ubafana was found in that crime scene. Is Bafana guilty? We don't know. Maybe he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And how do we make sure justice doesn't fail people, especially when DNA says it's not him? Drop your thoughts in the comment section and let's talk about it. I'm Busisiwe Mohapi, and this is Courtroom Chronicles, Trials of South Africa, where we don't just report the case, we unpack it. Until next time, sharp, sharp. And always keep the receipts. Let me know, in the comment section what you think. And until next time, keep on liking, keep on subscribing, hitting that notification button. And yesterday you surprised me. After that video, I thought I'll lose subscribers. In fact, I gained 8 more subscribers. So thank you so much, South Africa, for believing in me, for listening to me, and learning as I'm learning too. And God bless you. Until the next one, ciao.